everyone. Welcome to our Girl Geek Dinner tonight.
We have an hour of talks tonight for you from really amazing women at Cadence, and they will be sharing what they're working on, and also they have amazing career advice.
Tonight, I will talk about Tensilica, a platform that lets computer enthusiasts to create their own domain-specific processors, DSPs, AI accelerator, ensuring most optimized power performance and area efficiency. And I'm glad to be here with all of you, my fellow Girl Geeks.
I took that tough decision to press that pause button on professional side. And today, here I am to share with you all that journey and what is it like coming back to work. Hopefully it will help some of you, maybe now or in future.
Today I'd like to talk to you about a block that has a lot of importance in our daily life, which is SERDES. If you ask yourself what is SERDES, I can tell you that you have tons of it at home.
In this world, in this very technical world, in order to succeed in building the next generation engineering products, that ability to zoom into technical details when you need to, and then zoom out to create the larger strategy and vision for the next generation technology is a must.
Think about if you walk in the hallways of your company, your college, will you be recognized? Are you a familiar face? Will people trust you if they see you? They think, oh, okay, so Alessandra, this is a person I can trust. Lead by example. And so without further ado, just do it.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Girl Geek Dinner tonight. I'm Sukrutha from Girl Geek X. We're seeing so many people coming in and joining in right now, and that's amazing. Angie is here as well. So a little bit of back history. Angie and I used to, pre-COVID, commute to Girl Geek Dinners all across the Bay Area. So each dinner is sponsored by a different company. And, post-COVID, we've been doing this virtually. So here we are. Angie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, sorry. Every time I get in Zoom, I feel like they changed something on me. So thank you. Sorry for being a little late today. My name is Angie Chang, and I am the founder of Girl Geek X, along with Sukrutha. We've been hosting these events in the San Francisco Bay Area for over 13 years now. Thank you, LinkedIn, for telling me all the time how many years I've been doing this. We continue to do these events because we have so much fun going to different companies when we're not in a pandemic, and eating their food, seeing their office, talking to people who work there, and then most importantly, hearing and learning from women on stage who are working on the tech, who are leading departments and teams and sharing their tips and tricks, as well as what's going on for the new processes and products that they're working on. But we also love meeting Girl Geeks in the networking sessions. So that's why we have now, since we're in a pandemic, we do these on Zoom, and we have a networking session to follow. So we have an hour of talks tonight for you from really amazing women at Cadence, and they will be sharing their what they're working on, and also they have amazing career advice. So I learned something, and I think she'll share it later, but it was a Girl Geek Dinner that someone learned about a returnship from. So I was really excited to hear that people are going to Girl Geek Dinners and they're learning new things and continuing to come back as speakers. So it's really inspiring to see that full circle. What else is new? So
what else is new? We have a potential, we are going to have a female vice president of this country, which is huge.
Yes, Madam Vice President. I was like, oh my God, we have to do something. So we made some swag. If you're familiar with our cute Pixel people, we have a new one celebrating the woman who's going to be in the White House. So we have some swag available on our website. We have face masks so you can be very safe, and you can also buy hoodies, and you can get some throw pillows, bumper stickers that talk about how a woman's place is in the White House and the Senate, and women deserve to be in places where decisions are made. So you can find those all on our website at girlgeek.io. And all proceeds for those products will be going to Fair Fight, since we believe in fairness. So I think it's time to introduce our first speaker. Her name is Annamarie, and she is the Vice President of Culture and Talent at Cadence. She believes that employee engagement is not a nice to have, it is a key ingredient to creating a great company and a high performance culture. She holds a JD from Santa Clara University of Law and a BA in sociology from UC Santa Cruz. Welcome, Annamarie.
I can just speak if that's okay. Sorry, I'm not able to show up there.
No worries. I know Zoom is like changing every week. There's always some new quirk that we're like, why is this happening? So sorry about that.
Well, that's okay. Well, I really just wanted to welcome everyone. And we're so excited to partner with Girl Geek and to highlight our talented innovators at Cadence to show how they're helping us solve technology's toughest challenges. These 6 women are strong technologists and leaders at Cadence, and so I'm really excited to hear their lightning talks this evening and for some of you this morning around the globe. Just a little bit about Cadence. We are a leader in electronic design innovation. We're building on more than 30 years of computational software expertise. And we've also been on the Fortune 100 Best Companies to Work For list for 6 years in a row and on the World's Best list for 5 years, highlighting our strong culture. Women have played an important role in the advancement of technology throughout our 30-year history, and we're committed to empowering women across the globe and elevating more women in technology. Thank you so much, Girl Geek, for the chance to showcase the accomplishments and expertise our speakers bring to the field. And with that, I'll turn it back to you to introduce our first speaker.
All right, so next up is our speaker, Rania. I'm going to do a quick intro. Rania is the principal design engineer at Cadence. She will share about SERDES, a hardware IP that is responsible for transmitting and receiving data. Recently, it has been used in several serial link applications like PCI Express, HDMI, and USB. Welcome, Rania.
Hello, everyone. This is Rania Hassan Mekky. I am a principal design engineer in the IP group. Today, I'd like to talk to you about a block that has a lot of importance in our daily life, which is SERDES. The outline of this presentation is data transfer, examples of SERDES applications, SERDES definition, advantages and disadvantages, history and future of SERDES, and finally conclusion. Data transfer. Just ask yourself one question. Do you think how much data you're transmitting and receiving every day? The online meetings, this Zoom meeting, downloads, video streaming, it's a lot. All this come with heavily infrastructure of network and circuit that serves this purpose. We have one fast train that is responsible for transmitting and receiving all this data, which I'm going to talk about it in this presentation. I call it SERDES. If you ask yourself what is SERDES, I can tell you that you have tens of it at home. It's not new. One of the SERDES that you already know is USB, Universal Serial Bus. We all have some of it. This is maybe one of the very famous SERDES. Probably you have some on your hand right now. And it got evolved with time. It's not only for transmitting the USB data and giving power to systems, but also now we can transmit high definition video on the Type-C USB. It's not only USB is the SERDES that we have. We have also other applications like PCI Express. It's widely used in graphic cards, artificial intelligence and machine learning. PCI X, it's used in high performance computing. ZAWI, it's widely used in networking and Ethernet, and SATA, which is famous for storage. So what is SERDES? SERDES stands for serializer, deserializer. Serializer means that a transmitter that takes a parallel data and convert it to serial and send it to a media. Like, let's say, for example, like a chip like what's shown in this photo. Say that we're gonna get a 16 pin out of this chip and say that let's make this as a communication channel. So we will send 16 bit per second. So instead of using a 16 dedicated pins to do so, and of course 16 PCB trays, we're gonna convert the parallel data to serial and just use one pin and eventually one PCB trace. Deserializer is exactly the opposite. It's the receiver. It will take the serial data and convert it back to parallel for post-processing. So the advantage of this technique is less bin count. Instead of using the 16-bit, the 16 bin, we're gonna use just one bin. However, we still need to transmit the data at the same amount. So if this 16-bit was meant to be transmit in 1 second, we still need to get the communication channel fast 16 times to transmit the same amount of data within the same time. So we're gonna have the first disadvantage that we have to speed up the communication, high-speed communication. And this will come with faster clocks. So using faster data clock means that we have to increase the power, and here we're gonna have another trade-off. So given that the clock will be faster, then we really have to make it running with lower power. Another thing that we can use to help us with the challenges that we facing from getting the clock faster and the power lower, that we can move to advanced technologies like say, instead of using 65 nanometer technology, for example, we can go for lower, like 28, 12, 16, something like this. And we're gonna have some challenges in the design and the architecture itself. So let's talk about the history and future for SERDES. So here we have a graph for the data rate versus years for the published data for ISSCC for SERDES. The green dots, these ones represents PCI Express. The cyan dots represents storage, and the orange dot represents video. We can see that at early beginning of SERDES at 1995, it was as slow as just 1 gigabit per second. And as time just goes, it just keep going faster and faster to the right top of the curve here, that we can find that the PCI Express now is running at 32 gigabit per second. Not only getting the clock faster and using advanced technologies and advanced design will help in the development of SERDES, we had also another breakthrough in this technology, which is changing the modulation. Changing the modulation from non-return to zero, which was the most used modulation in all techniques, to BAM4, pulse amplitude modulation 4, that easily can double the rate. We can go from 28 gigabit per second to 56 gigabit per second just by changing the modulation, and this will come at the cost of more advanced architecture and more advanced designs. And this can go not only to 56, getting everything combined can lead us to a faster SERDES at 112 gigabit per second. Not only making it high speed, but customers need other stuff too. Needs more flexibility and configurability. We at Cadence can provide a multi-protocol SERDES that has different lanes that each lane can be configured to serve as a certain protocol, like the photo that we see in here, that we have 4 different lanes that each one can be configured, like one to serve as a PCI Express, one to serve as CCI X, one to serve as SATA, whatever. And this will provide more SOS configurability, maturity, flexibility, and ease to use. To summarize, you have SERDES at home. I'm pretty sure of that. It's an essential block that we use every day, not only for the listening counts and fewer communication channels. It opened the lead for more data to be transferred at more design challenges, from faster clocks, getting lower power using PAM4, and all this opens a new era for innovation. Thanks so much for your attention. I'm gonna give the mic back to Angie.
Awesome, thank you. That was an excellent talk on the importance of SERDES. So our next speaker is Sanjita, and she will be talking about jumpstarting her career after a caretaking break. She is a lead application engineer at Cadence, and she's a member of Cadence's first Return to Work initiative, where she'll share her experience tonight about getting back into the tech world after choosing to be a full-time mom for 4 years, and how her returnship what enabled her to go back to designing cutting-edge Cadence tools. Welcome, Sanjita.
Thank you, Angie. Hello, everyone. My name is Sanjita. Glad to hear with you all virtually today. I joined Cadence as a returnee, as Angie mentioned. And before this, I took this role. I have tried my hands at different engineering fields, in industrial automation to wireless to various software fields before I finally realized and settled down with ASICs, which is also popularly known as silicon chips. On personal front, I am a mother of 2 boys and a first-generation immigrant, which means life is something like this. And my presentation is stuck. Oh, there you go. That's my life. You get to be the village for your child, raising them here, and my only ally being my husband. Life was full, and I somewhere felt like I'm not able to juggle enough and give the kind of attention I wanted to give to my kids. And at one point, when they were going through crucial transitions in their lives, I took that tough decision to press that pause button on professional side. And today, here I am to share with you all that journey and what is it like to get coming back to work. Hopefully it will help some of you in maybe now or in future. What was it like? As I look back, I realized the most important part of this whole journey was managing my thoughts. And my decade-long meditation habit have played a very crucial role in that aspect. This constant thoughts of, oh, what will people think of me? Am I making the right decision? Am I losing out on my career? This circle of fear, negativity, anxiety, meditation really helped me to keep away from it all. And as over time, it was multiple different times at points of time that I had to remake that decision and reevaluate my choices. At the end of it, I realized one thing. I became completely unapologetic about the choices I had made. I stopped explaining to people why I took the break, why I chose to be a stay-at-home mom. I could accept within me that I have done this for myself and not for others. And all that was thanks to my meditations. So I strongly recommend for any challenges you're going through in life, this was one thing that worked wonders. Realized one more side effect of being on a break. I had a lot of time for myself. I could dig deeper, and I could really, that was the time when I really spelled out and embraced my strengths. As a result, when I decided to go back to work, I was very clear on what I bring to the table, what I have got to offer. And that positive outlook, that confidence, my own confidence in myself was something I felt was the very foundation when I decided to go back to work. More than any other prep and catching up to technology, this was the part that really gave me the jump start. One more thing that I would like to mention, I feel looking back that helped was continuous learning. As I was on a break, it was not technology, but then I learned a new language. I picked up gardening to permaculture. At one point, I even considered a career as a edible landscape designer. I explored spice mixes. I picked up things I knew nothing about. And that was the joy of learning. Now, as I joined back, I'm learning new tools, new methods, new stuff every single day. And all these things together, I feel is playing very crucial role as I come back from my break to start the journey again in the corporate world. So all in all, this is what I was as a result of all these three things in my break. As I decided to come back, get back to work, my very first thing was I started going out. And when I say it, I really mean it. I attended almost 40 events. Angie was mentioning about Geek Girl. Over 6 months, 40 events, Geek Girl was on top of that list. Back in the day when life was more normal and events were in person, it was a lot more fun. I look forward to see how it works in breakout rooms now. I attended a lot of women-centric events wherein I got to meet with a whole range of women in tech, which was pretty unusual experience for me because all this time, wherever I worked, there were very few women around me. So this was a really liberating experience. I learned a lot on semiconductor focused events as well, on where the world is going. That gave me a perspective on how market has moved and where things are going forward. At the same time, I connected with a lot of people, learned a lot from other women. At the same time, learned about returnship initiative, which I knew nothing about. And I realized this is something for people who don't know what this is. A lot of corporates have started programs wherein it's like internship, but meant for professionals who have prior experience and they've decided to take a break to take care of family. So it was tailor-made for me. Another thing that I did and discovered more on LinkedIn, there is a setting that you are open to opportunities. As I turned that on, recruiters started reaching out to me. So this few of the things already I could see there's a lot of traction in the market. I had to just prepare myself, and I knew that it was a process of going and finding the right match. I started talking to people and I realized even when there's a 10 or 20% match, they're willing to engage with me and talk forward. So as I was going through all those experiences, I realized it's only a matter of time when I find my right match. And sure enough, I see a rec one day on LinkedIn from Cadence, which was 100% match. I look at the job description, I look at their requirements, that minimum 3 years of break, 3 years of experience and 2 years of break. I fit right in. And by then I was already ready to face that interview, and I knew that the job is going to be mine. What was life at Cadence like as I joined? It was a 16-week program that gave me perfect time to ramp up where I had left off. In my previous job, I was a design engineer. I took customers' designs, made it work on the silicon as we taped out, and the goal was to make it first time right, and I had met it 100% success rate. Now in this job, I was offered to do the same, make it happen for the customers who are using Cadence's state-of-the-art technology leading toolset. So I started with the product training first, and then I got on-the-job training, wherein I got to see what is the real life experience in this job as an application engineer, which was really going on the other side of the table. I found one thing working at Cadence, that was one Cadence, one team. This motto that they are writing trickled down everywhere across the teams. It was about collaboration and achieving success as a team. And I felt at home, being in that culture. So at the end of 16 weeks, when management offered me a full-time position, it was a no-brainer for me. I knew this was the place where I'm going to be happy. Another thing that drew me was management's commitment towards employees. This was really, they were not just talking about it, I could see it, they were walking the talk. Second thing was focus on women. This was something, this is my fifth job actually. Never seen anything like this in any other company, the kind of focus that is there on women. I'm yet to finish my 5 months in this company, and this is the 6th women-centric event that I'm attending. So that tells where they're really walking the talk. So all you ladies out there, one thing I would say is make the bold choices, be confident in what you're choosing for yourself, and go for it. And Cadence is hiring. If you are matching with any of the profile, you have the skill set, this is the place to be. And one more thing I would like to put out there is returnship. See if your company is also open to starting programs like this. It's a win-win for both sides. And down the road, it will offer professionals like us that crucial choice at some part in our life when we feel that juggling of too many balls is too much. Even the professional life ball can also be put down temporarily. So with that, I would like to thank you all. And thank you, Angie, for giving me this opportunity here on the platform.
Thank you so much. That was such an interesting and personal story to share. We always are hearing more and more about people wanting to take a break, but then being afraid about, how that will impact their career. So it's especially, important to share your side of the story as well. So thank you so much. All right, so our next speaker is Tahrina Ahmed. Tahrina is a senior director at the Design Enablement Group in the Tensilica IP group at Cadence. So yeah, welcome, Tahrina.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tahrina Ahmed, Senior Director of Design Enablement Group at Tensilica IP in Cadence Design Systems. A little bit about myself. My academic career and professional background is in computer architecture. I completed my PhD from Stanford University, where my thesis was on distributed domain-specific architecture. Well, from very young age, I had keen interest in math and logic that later led on to my love for engineering. And I'm glad to be here with all of you, my fellow Girl Geeks. Tonight, I will talk about Tensilica, a platform that lets computer enthusiasts to create their own domain-specific processors, DSPs, AI accelerator, ensuring most optimized power performance and area efficiency. In this presentation, I will cover the basics of embedded systems, followed by the definition of hardware and software co-design. Then I will go over a concise technical overview of extensor architecture, a quick guide to build and customize Tensilica processors and DSPs. And finally, I will end with some PPA data. Tensilica develops IP blocks to be included on the chip designs, such as a system on a chip for embedded systems. So what is an embedded system? An embedded system is a microprocessor-based computer hardware system with software that is designed to perform a dedicated function, either as an independent system or as a part of a large system. Some of the key characteristics of embedded systems are low cost, lower power, with high efficiency, high reliability, and minimal user interface. Cadence Tensilica processors and DSPs are based on Extensa architecture that exploits hardware-software co-design. To implement hardware and software co-design, developers need to specify, explore, refine a flexible design strategy. It enables hierarchy of models at different abstraction levels, with hardware and software iterative interaction. And after evaluating PPA trade-offs, the developer finalizes the design. Essentially, two major requirements for this design practice are: first, each developer to embed their own design specification. Second, hardware with optimal PPA tuned for application software. So now let's delve into Tensilica solutions. Tensilica base architecture is a 32-bit reduced instruction set architecture with low gate count design, which is around 20K gates per 5-stage pipeline. The base instruction set supports 24-bit as well as 16-bit encoding. Thus, the modeless 24/16 intermixing provides great code density. This architecture comprises efficient branch instruction, for example, combine, compare, and branch, zero overhead loops, etc. For bit manipulation, it implements funnel shift, bit test, and branch field extract operations, etc. As mentioned earlier, that Extensa is a flexible architecture by design. The robust nature of this architecture allows designers to scale from tiny, low-power microcontroller to high-performance VLIW-controlled CPU. Designers can extend performance further with application-specific single instruction multiple data, very long instruction word, and I/O features. So how can you build your own unique processor and DSPs? If you have access to the base Extensa ISA using the Extensa processor generator interface, you can choose from pre-configured templates. Then simply configure utilizing the click button features and only include what your application needs. For example, the application could benefit from half precision, single precision operations, single or multiple load store or FMA units. Similarly, it could vary a wide range of data types from 8 to 64 bits. You can choose from 20 plus application-specific DSP ISAs. Finally, you can customize adding instructions and or IOs to meet application requirements and optimize and differentiate. So the bottom line is, with Tensilica solutions, it is easy to build, easy to optimize, easy to program. You get one development environment with automated tools generation. And you always get to write your program in C. You don't have to worry about assembly coding. So here's some of our automation utilities that make the development experience seamless for processor designers. Essentially, you start with Tensilica IP that provides you with base processor, which is dozens of templates for many common applications, in addition to pre-verified options. For example, off-the-shelf DSPs, interfaces, peripherals, debug, etc. You can customize your own IP by creating your own instructions, data types, registers, interfaces. Then using the XPG interface, within minutes, you develop complete hardware design, and simultaneously, you have access to advanced software tools. Well, even customization is highly coherent and straightforward with Tensilica instruction extension language. That is also known as TIE language. This high-level language helps you to describe hardware and software aspects of instruction extension. The TIE compiler generates software tools such as compiler, debugger, simulator. It also generates RTL and implementation flows. So now I'm going to show you this chart that illustrates how, by tuning processor ISA for application-specific characteristics, developers can achieve PPA efficiency. Considering this best case scenario, which is ATM header error correction application, by including less than 2K additional gates, developers can get greater than 10x speed up. How convenient is that? Even the use cases that require higher additional gate count, such as color space conversion, by adding around 10K additional gates, you can still achieve around, in fact, more than 4x speed up. Finally, where do you see our Tensilica processors and DSPs? Good news is our LX and NX controllers and audio vision RLC DSPs have footprint in various products in multiple segments, many of which perhaps you are using in your everyday life. For example, in automotive, Bluetooth headsets, digital TVs, and home entertainment systems, smartphones, smart speakers, narrowband IoT devices. Yes, you name it, you could find Tensilica IP. And with that, I would like to thank Girl Geek for giving me the opportunity to present Tensilica solutions in this event. And thank you all for joining this session. Back to you.
Thank you. That was an excellent talk. So our next speaker is Alessandra, who is the Vice President of North America Field Engineering at Cadence. She will share her journey and what she learned along the way with advice on leadership, insights on the importance of diversity in technology, and inspiration to help you own your own personal brand to drive your career. Welcome, Alessandra.
Good evening, everybody. And yeah, as was mentioned, my name is Alessandra Costa, and I manage the North America team. And I'm very proud to call Sanjita and Julia, two of the members of my organization. Great presentations. You ladies were phenomenal. So I'm switching a little bit the gear from the technical side, and actually I'm going to take you on a trip, and on a trip to Africa. And this was us, my husband and I, in 2002. It was fall, and we decided to go on a trip to Africa, and more precisely Namibia. So we were extremely excited about the perspective of being gone for a couple of weeks. And then the week before leaving, I found out I was pregnant, and pregnant with my daughter. So we really wanted a child too, but just we didn't want the first trimester to coincide with a trip in a land that was far from home. And so there was a lot of debating and a lot of agonizing over the decision, and then we decided to go. So we were reassured that the weather would be cool because it was sort of spring there. And we're actually going with a group of friends, and some of them I've known for quite some time, and one of them I didn't know at all. And then off we went, and unfortunately, once we got there, things were quite different from the way we imagined. So first of all, the temperature was the hottest spring that they had in like the previous 50 years, so it was extremely hot. The roads look like the one you see here. Actually, some roads are paved with salt, and the terrain is not regular at all. And the company, especially the person I didn't know, was nightmarish. So I would wake up in the morning, super hot, dry, but still super hot. I had the morning sickness. I was completely miserable, and the people around me didn't make my life better. So every time I woke up, and you might imagine that the first thing I could dream about could be some oasis along the way or a final destination in a hotel. Well, all I was dreaming about was potato chips. Well, if you think about it, potato chips are salty, And that's all I craved actually in the morning. I'm not a big fan of junk food, but I have to tell you, since then, potato chips have become my comfort food actually when I travel. So you can imagine my husband and I in this larger group, and every morning being miserable, and every morning just looking for the next stop to get some chips. And, you know, some of the brands were completely unknown to me. And although I am fully convinced that Simba is a very nice guy, I was not willing to trust my morning sickness to a brand that I didn't know, okay? So, of course, in the shelves, among the unknown brand, there was something that I could easily recognize and I felt comfortable with, which is Lay's, of course. And why did I go for Lay's? It's because, again, it's something that was familiar to me, because, of course, in the US, we see a lot of it, and something I could trust. Of course, it's kind of funny to trust junk food, but anyway, it's something I could know, and I felt comfortable buying and eating. Now, talking about brand and recognizable brand, can you guess the content of this can, even if you don't read or speak Arabic? Normally, when I do this presentation live, everybody recognizing this can, a can of Coke, which is really interesting because it means that their marketing is phenomenal, because the only thing that you can recognize really, again, if you don't speak Arabic, is the fact that, you know, it's a red can, it's a particular red, right? But still red can, white writing, and the swirl on the right? So I think they do a pretty good job just nailing these colors and the logo in your brain. If we look at the most valuable brands according to Forbes, which is quite a reputable source, these are the top 10. And one thing that is really interesting to me is that out of the top 10 brands, lots of them, actually the majority of them, are actually high-tech companies, which is very different from what was the reality maybe like just 10 years ago. So there are these big tech companies that really came to the forefront of the scene, and they're able to brand themselves to the public and to possible employees. But what does it mean? How did the Forbes rank the companies? It was based on 3 criteria. The first of all, the financial performance of the company, reputable company, good, good revenues, good margins. So that was the first thing. The second thing was really the weight of the brand on customer choices. Think about me in Namibia, potato chips, I went for Lay's, right? So the brand definitely had a weight on my choice. And third, which is really interesting, is the premium, the price premium that companies can charge because of the brand. And one example I like to bring up every time is think about the Louis Vuitton bags, especially the one with the monograms, the ones that are made of plastic, and they're sold for hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars, and it's might be very high quality plastic, still plastic. Now, why branding is important? We talked about the recognition, the can of Coke that you can recognize just by virtue of the colors and of the brand, of the logo. Trust, we talked about me trusting junk food and trusting potato chips, but also financial value, meaning how much financial value is the brand bringing to a company. And last but not least is also inspiration. No matter where you stand on the political side, if you think about Kevin Kaepernick here in North America, he became the image person for a while for Nike, and that was decided based on his political stand. So companies spend a lot of money to make sure that you recognize their brand and you associate their brand to what they stand for. Well, how about people? That's me when I was still going to the hairdresser before COVID. And if you think about yourself, and if you work for a company or you're in college, think about if you walk in the hallways of your company, your college, will you be recognized? Are you a familiar face in the environment you work at? Will people trust you if they see you? Will they think, oh, okay, so Alessandra, this is a person I can trust. I know she made sound decision. I know that she delivers on what she promises. Financial value. If I think about Cadence, does Cadence see a financial value in me? And, on the flip side, is Cadence willing to pay me the right amount of money for the job I do? And then last but not least, let's go through inspiration again. Will I be an inspiration for people around me? And I mean, I certainly hope so, and especially for women in my organization and also outside of my organization. So I want to share a few things that you ladies should focus on when you think about your brand. And this is a presentation that normally I deliver like in half an hour, 40 minutes. So I am much more than this, but I just condensed, focusing on the most important thing. The first thing is really understanding the priorities of the company you work for, the group you work for, the group, the priority of your manager even. And then I align what you do with the priorities of the companies. Sometimes, we like going and trying science experiment and we fall in love with the project, we fall in love with the topic, but then does it matter for people around you? Does it matter for your manager? Does it add value for your company? An example I give, believe it or not, I love knitting and I love also crocheting. I do beautiful things. I believe so, right? That these are beautiful. I do a lot of blankets. I have one in process and I like to do it because I can see the result of what I do. It's something that I can touch, right? While my job is kind of immaterial. I don't work on something and then I can just hold it in my hand. So, I do beautiful blankets. I make beautiful blankets. Perfect craftsmanship. Do you think my manager, who is, by the way, is the VP of Sales of North America, so he carries basically half the revenue of our company. Do you think he cares if I show up at the one-on-one with my blanket and say, look, I've been working on this. Are you proud of me? Of course he doesn't care. So, of course, this is an exaggeration, but every time you do something, think, is this valuable for my team? Is this valuable for my company? And align. And there are ways to align. You can listen to communication meetings. I mean, big organization, we have communication meetings that our CEO Libutan holds. We have communication meetings. Inside smaller organizations, inside groups. In fact, my manager had a communication meeting this week. So listen to that, learn the lingo, learn what is important. And one thing, and for especially the ladies that are part of my team, they know, I push everybody to listen to the earning calls. So if you work for a company, a public company, they have earning calls where they share with typically the CEO and the CFO, they share the data on how the company is doing. But above all, the analysts ask a lot of questions about the company. And so you're going to learn very quickly what matters to the executive of the company, and you're going to learn how to translate those careabouts to your daily life. Okay, so understand priorities and align with the priorities of your company. The second one, this is a very much a female trait. I hear all the time, for example, when somebody tries to apply for a job, women typically, if they don't check all the boxes, if they're not perfect for every single thing, every single requirement of the job description, they don't go for it. It's this quest for perfection that sometimes is very career limiting for women. And so what you see here, this symbolizes to me the quest for perfection, sometimes imperfection being better than perfection. And this is a pottery technique that is typical in Japan, where something breaks, they fix it. And yes, it was broken, but it looks even more beautiful than the original item. So overcome the sense of the quest for perfection because that's detrimental to what you do. Last but not least, I'm asked frequently, how do I change at work compared to my life at home? Of course, there are differences. I mean, the way I express myself, I do much more yelling at home. You can imagine, right? The Italian family. My husband is actually American, but two Italian women, one 100% Italian, the other 50% Italian. So there's a lot of yelling. I don't yell at work. And I try actually to customize my message depending on the people I talk to. But I myself, every single morning, I get up, I wash my face, I look at myself in the mirror, and I bring myself to work. I don't bring another person, an avatar of what I am in real life. Okay, so, and this is, by the way, this is Dr. Jekyll's and Mr. Hyde. Now, there is much more than that. For sake of time, I'll jump to the next thing. Everything I said, if you think about it, it applies equally to men and women. Why am I so keen in giving this presentation to women? It's because we're still a little bit behind in the way we are represented. And so there is still a big gap between the opportunities that we are given, the way we're paid, the political representation that we have, and the one that men have. So again, for sake of time, I'm not going to go too much into this, but there is the World Economic Forum, it's an international organization, measures actually what is the gender gap between men and women. And as you can see, this year, so we're talking about 2020, a woman is, let's say, quote unquote, worth 69% of what a man is worth. So we have similar opportunities when it comes, for example, for education. But when you look at economical participation and above all, political empowerment, then we're very behind. And so if you think about how big is the progress that we've made since 2006, when they started measuring this, it's only 4.6%. It's a very detailed report. I encourage you to look at it. And also the data is split by country. And we're not doing very well in the US, and we're doing even more poorly in my country of origin, Italy. And talking about political representation, you know, this is a G20 a few years back. The picture on the left is the original. The one is with men photoshopped out. 3 women are left. And one is the queen, by the way. This is the G7 last year. So this G7 is the meeting of the 7 most industrialized countries in the world. And they sent the representative, and here they are. How do you feel about being represented by these middle-aged men? So these people are speaking also on your behalf. But alas, I had to change my presentation because I had sent it a few weeks back. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And yes, Kamala, finally, this Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, I was listening to her speech and this is maybe the quote that impressed me the most because it's a quote that speaks about ambition in a positive way, not in a negative way, speaks about conviction, and speaks about seeing ourselves as deserving and as having opportunity, even if other people don't think we do, because they've never seen that before. But you know, women can have a place in technology. These are 2 women working on the ENIAC, the first computer that was created. But then what happened? Women have sort of disappeared from the technology scene. And in my opinion, it starts very early, it starts in childhood. If you Google best toys for a 5-year-old girls, look, I mean, it's all pretend play, and it's shopping carts and cute girls, pots and pans, and nothing wrong with cooking. I like cooking. So, and on the right, look at how much more the toys on the right can influence decisions later in life. Okay, and why can't boys play a little bit with pot and pans and learn how to help around the house? Now, talking about women in high tech, the numbers are not great. 25% of computing jobs are held by women, only 25%. 50+% of women are leaving their jobs in mid-career. And so I'm very proud of the returnship program that we launched because we could find a phenomenal application engineer like Sanjita. And in Silicon Valley, which is very liberal and advanced, only 12% of engineers in startup are women. And last but not least, only 11% of the executive positions in Silicon Valley are held by women. Anyway, so I don't want to just sit here and admire the problem and just close with like this sad and somber note, because there is a lot we can do. We can support our sisters. I hate hearing that the worst enemies of women are women. So I don't buy into that. And it comes from a, take of scarcity, as if there was a limited number of resources. And if a woman makes it, the other one cannot make it. It's a fight with elbows in our faces. I don't buy into that because, the possibilities are out there and, we need to be able to grab them. Share with younger women the passion for what we do. There are plenty of opportunities to be a mentor too. I've been a mentor in my daughter's school. And be vocal for women who do not dare to do it. It happens in meetings, it happens everywhere. We're interrupted, people talk over us. Like for example, my boss doesn't care well when there are a lot of people talking. So it's nice when somebody says, okay, she's talking, or like, Kamala Harris said, right, I'm talking. And there are a lot of other organizations that can be supported worldwide, Girls Who Code, IEEE Women in Engineering, Girl Scout, you have the list there, and why not Girls Geek too? So anyway, in conclusion, let's go back to personal brand. Your personal brand is important for you, for your company, for your fellow human beings, and above all for the women who are around you. Lead by example. And so without further ado, just do it. And with this, I'm done.
Thank you so much, Alessandra. Next up is our next speaker, Neeti Bhatnagar. She's a Senior Software Engineering Group Director of System and Verification Group at Cadence. Welcome, Neeti.
Let me get started. Since I'm the last speaker of today and I come after these wonderfully inspiring speakers, I'll try and keep up. So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on which part of the world you're dialing in from today. Thank you for being here. My name is Neeti Bhatnagar, and I'm the Senior Group Director for leading Cadence's products on virtual prototyping, hardware software co-debug, co-validation, and so on. I've been with Cadence for about over 25 years now, and I've had a very rich career working as a technical leader in the R&D organization, driving innovation, especially where hardware meets software. So in my career, I've gone back and forth a few times between management and being an individual contributor. But across it all, I always have my technical hat on, because in this world, in this very technical world, in order to succeed in building the next generation engineering products, that ability to zoom into technical details when you need to, and then zoom out to create the larger strategy and vision for the next generation technology is a must. So you have to be able to, go back and forth between the two. I have an undergrad and a master's degree in computer science. On a personal note, I've been privileged to come from an extended family of engineers, scientists, economists, including several women cousins who were pioneers and leaders in their chosen scientific fields. So I never saw these limits. It never occurred to me to do anything else, especially since I loved math and physics in high school. I'm the proud mother of a 23-year-old machine learning researcher. Besides nurturing his passion, for math and science, I'm really, really proud to have nurtured that sense of equality across genders, because I'm very passionate about this. I truly believe it is our job as as parents to not only nurture that sense of equality in our daughters, but to do the same in our sons, because they, play just as much a role in making sure we have a more equitable world out there. My husband is a senior executive in the tech world as well. So as two working parents with demanding careers, our responsibilities at home as parents have never been fixed. It really adapted to the time and place, and depending on whose career was on and who needed to travel, it really, was a juggle. And, I heard the wonderful stories about, from Sanjita, from Julia about, taking the break when you needed to. I'm one of those people who didn't take that break. So, life for the longest time was, I always thought it was just one tiny hair away from disaster. But, we got through it. And so to a lot of you young women who are thinking, can I do this? Do it. Whether you take a break, that's absolutely the right thing to do if that's what makes sense in your life. But persist, because kids grow up and there's life after kids, and the juggling becomes better, and you have so much more time to do things you really want to, which in my case still happens to be very technical. So kind of moving on to what I'm here to talk about. This is a technical talk. I'm here to talk about intelligent systems and how they're all around us, and the role that software, particularly the growing role of software in these intelligent designs. So, as you know, we're in this era of design where, intelligence has become integral to pretty much everything we're doing, right? Learning systems that interact with our environment and make decisions to optimize the experience of the user are pretty mainstream now. And this has had a, profound impact on design challenges and complexity. You have to consider performance, safety, low power, and the cost so you can deliver that value to the users, right? So today we'll talk about one specific slice of that complexity, which is software. So you can see, intelligent design, especially a company like Cadence, where, our job is to help, the next generation design. Pretty much anyone you can think about is using our software to design their next, their next device, their next, complicated electronic system. So intelligent design is really fueling the growth at some of these largest companies, right? It's driving that design revolution. It is, really a game changer, and it's not limited to just, autonomous. People are very familiar with autonomous vehicles and robots and drones, but the networking and the mobile space are also undergoing the same design revolution with the, advent of 5G. You have these self-organizing networks in the mobile space, and you have intelligent cloud and data center services that are absolute necessity for, to manage that scale. So intelligent, devices are increasingly ubiquitous. So, this is a very wide range of devices, but examples of intelligence devices are, everywhere. You may not even know what you're using as an intelligent device. So take modern hearing aids, or, take things like, built-in real-time language translators that are showing up in many next generation devices and applications. So, if you're doing a meeting and, there's somebody speaking in, say, Hindi on the other side, and it could get translated into, Mandarin on one side. So, these things are becoming more and more common, and they'll show up everywhere. And of course, if you look at automotive systems, right, most of the new cars, without even going into autonomous driving, if you look at cars these days, right, modern cars, they all come in equipped with safety features like proximity sensors. So, you get too close to a car, or a car gets too close to you, your sensors go off and alert the driver, or you wander off from your lane, or, even things like how your gears are being changed, that's being, done through intelligence. And much of this adaptive, intelligent functionality is implemented through software that interacts with the underlying electronics and hardware. So, to make these intelligence devices deliver that, value-added experience, a lot of technical details have to come together, right? It requires, high performance, power efficiency, and really that perfect union between the hardware and software. Let's take, something pretty commonplace. I don't know if you've recently taken a parent or a child or a spouse or yourself to get one of these newer modern, hearing aids. I took my mom recently to get one. And I was just blown away by, how amazing these devices are. So they can, adapt to any environment. They can sense, are you in a crowded market space, or, are you in a music concert? And then they adapt to, mimic the functioning of a normal ear and brain interaction. For instance, if you're in a concert and you're listening to music, your brain automatically tunes out some of the ambient noises. So these devices are designed to do the same thing, so that you can, maximize the experience of listening to that concert. So in order to do something like this, right, you need to determine, right, for instance, as a user, you want to know where that sound is coming from, so that the sound can be amplified in the right ear, right? So in order to do that, it has to classify all the streamed signals, right? So it streams the full audio bandwidth in real time bidirectionally tackling challenging, listening situations by simulating what the brain does with sounds from both ears. For instance, if you get a loud sound and you're crossing the street and you hear a sound of a car from your right side, that device will amplify the sound in your right ear. And all of this is accomplished by the combination of hardware and software. And if that software and hardware don't work perfectly together, the device doesn't deliver the functionality for the user, and it can be, life-threatening. So a little bit, about the speciality of this software, especially embedded software. It comes with its own unique set of challenges. The thing about it is it's fundamentally hardware dependent, right? So many system-related bugs can be tied back to this interdependence. So oftentimes, the software team, which is developing the software, we talked about all of that adaptive functionality coming through software. These are software algorithms, but these are software algorithms very much designed to work with a specific hardware. So when the software team develops, they're often developing to a spec because the hardware is also under development at that time. And very often the first integration between these two happens when the hardware design is already done. Now, what happens with the late integration is you find that the design functionality doesn't work together because they're out of sync with each other. And sometimes you have to respin the hardware design, which is very, very expensive. So, this software kit becomes a challenge. Therefore, it's really valuable to verify the software with the hardware before your hardware, is committed and the cost of change increases. So how do you do that? You do that through this, through starting the software, even though the hardware is not done, on something called a virtual platform. Now, what is a virtual platform and how does it let you get this hardware and software integration started early? So a virtual platform is really a high abstraction model of your hardware, but it's got enough of that interface details captured that it lets you run the actual software, unaltered. And what does this do for the, for your project? It basically, the use of virtual platform enables that software development to begin nearly simultaneously with the hardware design. So, this is really key. I mean, we see across the board more and more companies have, huge delays, something like 9 to 12 months of delay because, of the issues related to hardware and software integration. So in conclusion, right, intelligent designs are everywhere, right? And they're pervasive. These are not, and this is, here to stay. And this really complicates our customers' design challenges. You need power efficiency, you need high performance. If you're doing something like autonomous driving, it's all real time. And so everything, it's not just hardware and software in one subsystem. These things are very complicated. There are multiple subsystems. They all have to work together in that perfect, into perfection because your life may depend on it. And you can't just design the hardware and then design the software and then, sign off on the hardware before you've done this integration. So early software development and hardware software integration has become a, absolute reality and absolute must. And these virtual platforms really help enable. So I want to close with a note that, one of the most interesting parts of my job and my team's charter is to develop that most effective set of tools, technologies that help our customer surmount that hardware software integration challenge. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Neeti. That was excellent. So now we are going to be starting the breakout sessions. We are going to be clicking on the link that will be going into the chat. That will be taking us to the Zoom meeting. down there, and we will see you on the other side, and then I'll explain more once we get there about how this is all going to work. We're going to be in breakout groups with 4 to 6 girl geeks in each room, and we'll have some prompts, some icebreakers, and we'll get to know each other a bit. So see you in the Zoom meeting.